Here he is,
Good morning. Sorry.
King of Leicester. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Luke, this is incredibly early for me.
I know. And you dressed? Or you've not gotten dressed from last night?
It's one or the other. So hang on, talk to me about your morning routine, because you start at 5 a.m., don't you?
Yeah, it can vary anything between 4 and 5, generally. So it's not exciting. It's not like a massive exercise regime or anything like that. So just walking the dog, getting dressed, coming into work, doing the bits so you don't have any distractions.
And so getting up at 5 a.m., you feel like in some way you're our answer to Matt Steinweed.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, trying to get there.
You haven't got the tan, you don't do the surfing. Leicester's not known for its sort of surf and turf crowd,
No, I swear I don't do the gym. I'm not bulked out.
But you do go for a run, don't you?
Yeah, I go through when I get to a certain point when I can't do my trousers up, and then I think, right, I need to go for a run. So I go mad then for a couple of weeks, bring it back down, then. So it's that constant yo-yo.
Simon Whale reckons he's going to be doing 100 kilometres this month. Not in a car, by literally himself.
Yeah.
I'll be very impressed by if that comes together.
Have you lost weight? He does look like he's lost weight from maybe 6 months ago.
See, the thing is for Whaley, I think lockdown really works for him because he doesn't get to go out as much as he would do under normal circumstances. And, you're at home. I think he drinks less at home than he would do in an average bar. So he's doing all right. He's doing okay. He's losing a bit. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. This is meant to be the longest love letter I've ever written to an industry.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of anyone better to speak to than the master from Clair himself. Michael Nettleton. Yeah. He was my first call of the year, and do you know what? It was lovely. I wasn't even intending to publish that anywhere. We just were having a chat and needed to sort of hear his experiences on building a bit of tech. But it turned out to be good, so I decided that's what we're going to do. We may do the same with this, Luke, depending on how interesting you can be.
Pressure.
Major pressure. I think it's fair to say, though, that when I met you the first time, I can't even remember how long back this is. Is it going on for about 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, it's when you sat. I think the first time was when you sat in the chair in the centre of the room and
made everybody cry.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, the first time was on that mastermind session, Stephen Brown's mastermind course, and I think I remember my wife texting me to ask me how it was going, and I said something along the lines of, "Well, I've just mystery shopped Perry Power's office together with the guy from Big Brother." I think it was Tom from Big Brother that attended our first session. To me, it couldn't get any better than that. Perry was pretty much celebrity status in those days. But we quickly flushed him out of our group. But I think it's fair to say, sort of first impressions of meeting you, I wasn't expecting anything particularly, rock and roll about you at first glance, but getting to know you, you've probably spent more time than any of us kind of working on your business, but also improving yourself. So sort of traveling to Australia, and did you also go to America at one point as well?
Yeah, so did NAR last year with Shaun and Stephen. So it's a good way to have a holiday at the company's expense.
It's not a holiday if you have to take Shaun Adams with you.
I just became his chauffeur for a week.
It goes from being a holiday to a saga holiday, I think.
True.
But you've done Arik long before a lot of us even knew what Arik was.
Yeah.
How did you sort of how did that come about? Because literally you were one of the first. And the second question is, how did you get buy-in from your business partners at the time? Was that difficult to sort of just say, right, guys, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next week or so?
Yeah, so Arik was, me and Richard Morris used to listen to $1 Million Agent. So we used to listen to $1 Million Agent, and then one of the business partners listened to $1 Million Agent as well. And we used to like text each other what we'd kind of learned or what happened on that episode, which was quite good. And we don't do that now, which is a bit of accountability, as kind of Stephen would say. But and then I thought, you know what, they're talking about this thing called Arik, and it's supposed to be the best thing in the world where agents can learn. So I thought, well, if it's the best, well, why don't we see what it's all about? So one morning I thought, right, I'm just going to send an email. I won't have a conversation because in case they shout at me and say, no, you're not going. So I sent a quick email saying, look, here's the cost, and I didn't even look to see where Arik was. So I booked, they said yes. I said, yeah, not a problem. And then I booked the plane ticket to Sydney. And then realising that it's actually on the Gold Coast, I thought, that's not a problem, I'll just hire a car and drive. And then when you actually look at where Sydney is and where the Gold Coast is on the map, I think it was something like 36 hours or something like that in a car to drive. I thought, okay. And I'd obviously gone for the economy rental as well. So it was probably going to be like a freewheel van. To take me across, but that could have been a good kind of series, really. Just like
Luke Sinclair in a 3-wheel van
touring Australia.
I think Billy Connolly already did that once.
Yeah, and didn't the guy from The Chase do it with his son Bradley Walsh? He's done it in America, isn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never knowingly watched anything with Bradley Walsh in it. I sort of try and stay well clear. So what year was that you visited?
That would have been about 2016, I think, was my first year. 2016 was the first year. And we went out, and literally, I think we went out for 6 nights in total. So we flew there and flew back, and we stayed for 6 nights. And everyone said, you're mad going all like this. Nah, it's fine, you just sleep on the plane. And strangely, that trip never really affected me, jet lag or anything like that. But the other trips, when you tend to stay longer, affect you more, because I think you're going with a sole purpose. You're kind of fired up, ready to go. So, but that was that was transformational for us as a business. And just even listening to Matt Steinway talking about the lemon moments. And you have a few things that stick in your head, and I'm sad in a way that it's probably not things I should remember about maybe the family or something like that. It's more to do with like lemon moments. Matt Steinway, Gavin Rubinstein on the stage talking about how he's writing millions of dollars in business and how they work 24/7 and they got these PAs and that's it. But it was great. And then when John McGrath said, come and have a look around the VIP area.
You knew you'd made it to the big time.
That's it, yeah. That's it. Bucket list has been completed.
Well, it's when you hear Knightsbridge, you think, we're talking centre of London, talking the elite property scene.
Yeah.
You didn't tell them about Leicester, did you?
I left off the Knightsbridge in Leicester bit. I left off the Leicester because but at that point we were still in lockdown. We were in lockdown in 2016 already, in anticipation for everything that's going on, and I don't think we'll ever be released out of lockdown.
It's probably wise that they keep you there. Some agents are doing really well with lockdown. Michelle Gallagher, who's part of our group, and I don't know whether this is Michelle's sort of schoolgirl oh, this is amazing. It's not amazing, but it's amazing. But Michelle claims that she's almost got an unbroken run. I think out of something like 120 valuations that she's done, something in that sort of region, she's done. I think only 2 of them had ever been in person. I think virtual.
She's a massive advocate of the virtual, the Zoom, the FaceTime, or WhatsApp valuations. And fair play, she's keeping her and her business and her colleagues.
She's doing phenomenally well. Both her and Sacha, actually. Have you managed to do them completely virtually? You sort of still doing a bit of both?
Yeah, in the early days we did. So obviously in lockdown 1, so we did them then when we weren't allowed to go anywhere. And then after the event, you then hear of agents that have been going out during lockdown 1 doing viewings, still doing valuations, and it's like, come on. And obviously they're the agents that aren't doing the industry a favour whilst we're still allowed to trade. But no, we did them, and they were good. Will they substitute a proper full physical face-to-face valuation? I don't know how Michelle. She must have some secret sauce to do it, because we've found they're not as effective. But we have done them for sure.
Well, we're going to go back to sort of doing the industry a favour in a minute. But just to go back to, I want to just top and tail the Eric part of our discussion.
Yeah.
I tend to do this. We segue out of different subjects.
Yeah.
When you arrive there, you realise, look, these are legends. These are superstars. These guys invest in their business, in their self-development, in the whole works. Was it a little bit disheartening that our industry at the time, because this is going back whatever it was, 2015, was nowhere near what it is today in terms of self-development and
collaboration was a key thing 5-6 years ago here, or it didn't exist, did it, between agents?
No.
And yet over there, collaboration in the same town exists. So only 2 years ago, I was in Melbourne and I went to see Kylie Charlton at Sandringham at Melbourne. And just, I'll ring such and such. He's across the road. He runs a training session on a Wednesday morning. I'll get you in on it. And yet, so they know when their training sessions are for their competitors. And I've been to one of them, and they're superb. Hold on. So it's like, I don't know what agent you've got across the road from you at Norman & Co, but let's say it's Blogs & Co. It's like you popping into Blogs & Co.'s morning meeting, and
it's
then
crazy. It would never happen here.
Yeah,
we're too paranoid, I think.
Yeah, and that's what they do. But what I really, and you kind of hit the nail on the head with when you did your Christmas special with Simon about how the industry. I've become proud of the industry that we operate in now, with how agents are pulled together. But I've noticed that again, people like Stephen Brown and Peter Knight that brought agents together to help the collaboration. Slowly but surely, the whole industry is starting to move together, and I think suppliers have a big part in that. And there are some suppliers that really endorse it, and then there are some suppliers that try to push you apart, like magnets.
We're not going to mention those companies, those multi-million-pound companies by name, but that's really where they've built. That's their legacy that they've built for the future in terms of the way that agents view them. And what disappoints me about, if we're talking about one of the industry's biggest suppliers, what disappoints me about them is that they had an opportunity to have their sort of wake-up moment, because at the beginning of lockdown 1, really the industry spoke out. Whether it be through sort of blog posts or whatever was going on, there were associations formed against a particular supplier, never heard of in our industry.
No.
And I would actually probably say unheard of in most industries, that the actual sort of users will get together en masse and suddenly start pulling in the same direction. And to me, although it was born out of something extremely negative, and to me, that was a beautiful moment as well. Yeah. It's like
watching a film, wasn't it?
It was crazy. But I feel like they didn't. I would have hoped that they would have sort of sat up, paid attention, and decided, okay, we're going to make some concerted effort to change. And from what I can see, I think my reps trying to be a lot nicer to us than they would have been previously, but it's not necessarily what I'm looking for.
Yeah, but we all know why they're all being nice to you, don't we?
Well, yeah, they want that.
Yeah, and they also want information, don't they?
They do, and I think what you said before is that they've developed their stock in trade has become pitting one agent against another. So even the stuff that they say is helping you, so they'll come in and say, okay, we'll log into the system, and you've got all your stats there. Look how pretty that dashboard is. It tells you whether you're number one or you're number two, and all the shit that Chris Watkins will write blogs and post about in terms of pie charts. They created that system whereby, in order to leverage more money out of me, so if I spend more money on their products, I will have better visibility. If I have better visibility, then I'm likely to perform better in terms of those key statistics that they're pushing. And so it's a model that sort of perpetuates itself and it feeds itself. And it wasn't until we sat in that room together that we all realised we had the same issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and I look at the battle I had. I don't call it a battle. I just kept on asking questions. When are you going to support Matterport tours? When are you going to support Matterport tours? And that had been going on for... So I saw Matterport in 2015, 2016. Thought, what a great product. And obviously it's coming to its own in the last year or so. But, no, it's not on the agenda. It's not on the roadmap. We'll just put it as a link. And like the whole virtual tour, the whole videos, and all it took for them to put was a little icon saying online viewing or virtual viewing or whatever it's called. And now at least they do some kind of embedding around Matterport tours, I believe. But even so, they're still miles behind.
They are, because they got to a stage, the feeling was, at least with us, that they got to a stage where the user interface looked as good as it was probably going to, the agent's back-end office looked as good as it was going to, and then the product just didn't evolve beyond that. So I don't think an awful lot in the portal sphere has happened. Going back sort of 3 or 4 years, even if you to look at the sort of challenger portals that were there, Boomin is probably one that is threatening to do some damage out there and change something. Have you looked at that?
Yeah, so like most agents have been. I've looked at it, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be a good challenger. Because I think they'll listen to what the market really wants, and like with just going back, it isn't a right move bashing, but I've been through the exercise of actually where we've been a house buyer, and you start looking at all these things that Rightmove have been selling you over the years to say, look at this, you'll get, and it's like, as a buyer, I've actually switched myself off through all of this when I'm looking through, so I don't give a
So you don't fall for the featured listing?
No. So I scroll straight past it. The ones where it comes up, where the agent's been successful in the area, I've not even noticed it. Yes, the premium property. What I've really noticed is photographs and floor plans. I've not even read, and we were sitting there over Christmas, and Stacey said to me, she said, "You know what? We've not actually even read one piece of wording that the agent's written about the property."
Yeah.
And yet this one, the agent's telling us it's deceptively spacious.
It's classic. But do you not find that from when you're talking to your clients, the vast importance that those clients put on descriptions?
Yeah.
Sometimes that description of their conservatory as being deceptively spacious and not all cold in the winter, is very important to them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important to them. But if they then changed hats and put themselves as the buyer, would they actually read it? And I'm sure if you were in a listing presentation, they'd probably say yes, just to be argumentative. But chances are, floor plans and photographs. But it still amazes me now when we were looking. I don't think though, apart from the video from some corporates where it's just still images moving around to make it look like a video, and classing that as a video tour, none of them are using proper video or proper tours. So
as I don't know if you watched the one with Michael, but as you know, I've got my really hastily written notes over here, and it works in sort of like an A to Z order.
Yeah.
And I think we probably came to V is definitely for video, but T has become tours because there are a myriad of products out there and some fantastic innovation that we've seen introduced to the market very quickly in between sort of this pandemic starting and now. The selection of different suppliers out there for your video tours, whether it be something that you can, I think that, what's his name? Matt Nicol was pushing one, wasn't he?
Yeah, so Gavl by live streaming, isn't it? Yeah.
Gavl, there's UC Homes as well.
Giraffe 360,
Matterport, of course, and then there's just your sort of traditional video tours, and then there's this.
Yeah,
which is amazing. You just sort of and people like Lisa Novak, who I know you've had on your show, have taught us that it's maybe not the most professionally edited tour in the world, but it works, doesn't it?
100%. Because I think people just see it as being, like I think Lisa says, it's raw, so people then perceive it being, and it is real, rather than a nice polished blockbuster that I think people want to see you fumble, want to see the you open a cupboard and I don't know, a load of stuff fall out and that kind of thing because the vendors crammed it all in there.
Did you see that wonderful video tour with the man that is very close to my heart and yours, Oliver James, where he's sort of strolling through this English countryside landscape, and he walks up to a pear tree and just plucks the pear off the tree and bites into it mid-video tour. Completely scripted. That pear apparently was in his pocket all the time. That's what the bulge was, ladies. But we are seeing a completely different style and people are pushing the boat out. So where you feel there's an instruction like that one where Oliver felt he had to add value, then you'll invest in it. And I see a sort of a vast improvement in such a short amount of time. And the learning curve is just like that for video technology at the moment. And I think people are really sort of throwing their weight behind it, which is good.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing someone can invest in is just to have decent sound. Just to have decent sound on a video is, rather than it being all bluster. If you're doing it outside, it's windy and you haven't got maybe a muffler or a proper microphone or something, then...
So what do you use one of those furry Rode mics, right?
Yeah, so we just got the Rode Video Go, so it's a wireless thing, but it's dead easy to set up. A couple of £100, but
we're not going to see you outside a shop like Michelle Gallagher with her trademark visor she's got, and also a microphone. That's all. Looks like a news reporter.
Yeah, I'd love to. And this is the difference probably between me and Michelle. I've been thinking about it for like a year or so. Michelle's just got on and done
it. I want to talk to you about what's going on right now. So whenever people sort of catch up on this, but right now we are heading fast towards the end of January. But you picked up on something. I don't know who picked up on it first, but there seems to be a wave and a momentum at the moment.
So is this the schools?
This is the schools.
Yeah. So for the schools. So I'd probably put claim of fame to Anton. Seeing a post from Anton.
So that's Anton Plackowski from Next Place. Is it
Next Place, Tamworth? Yeah. So if he smiles at you, you're in trouble.
Oh gosh. Scares me.
So, and I also saw a post from the local school in one of these community Facebook groups. So again, if you're an agent and you're not in your local community Facebook groups, that's the temperature of what's going on in society and in your local market. So what's going on there will give you an idea of what you need to be doing. And then also BBC Local Radio were trying to get old devices donated to charity for them to recycle, then dish them out to schools. But we all know just to recycle one device isn't just a 5-minute job. It's probably a couple of hours for someone and a delay in getting that out. Anyway, so it all started local school. They wanted some tablets. So I thought, okay, we'll buy some tablets for them. So we said, is 20 enough? Yeah, that's lovely, thank you. So I then made the mistake in saying, well, actually, how many children have you got? So this school, I think, is about 330 kids in not in a, I wouldn't say a deprived area. And
just
they've got
standard sort of
standard area where, rightly or wrongly, this day and age, we probably expect people to have a device or a tablet because it's in the news, isn't it? Keeping kids off their tablets and things. But so I had 40 kids that didn't have access to one device. So that could be multiple children in the same household. So
over 10% of the population of that particular school. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, I'll order the extra 20 and they'll be with you at the same time on Monday. So they get delivered by Amazon today at that school. And then I had a couple of other requests individually from people in the same group, which I've fulfilled and dropped round to individuals. And one of them's quite significant because they're an NHS worker working with COVID patients, and they don't have any kind of device for the children. They're using a mobile phone to try and learn how to do things. So we've done that one as well. And then it kind of went from there, and I thought, you know what? Let's see how many we can order on Amazon. So Amazon limited me to 50, and then I went mad in Argos and ordered 70.
And when you turned up to collect them, did they ask you if you'd made a mistake?
And they said, "Oh, we were wondering when Mr. Tablet was going to turn up." So yeah. And then we thought, we can do this, but what if we try and get other people involved in this? Let's get other individuals, and even if it's £1, if someone donates £1, and I don't know, we've got 300,000 people in Leicester, then that's a massive step towards getting tablets for kids. Because is it going to probably finish February half term? Probably not. Is it going to go on to Easter? More than likely. So that's, if you look at a child's life as to how long they've been at school. So I think they go to school 4 or 5. And at primary school age, for example, that's a massive chunk of their life that they've not been educated.
Do you remember when you were a kid that age and the school year just seemed to go on for forever?
Yeah.
That's a huge chunk of it, isn't it? 3 months.
But these are the people that are going to be curing cancer for us in 10, 15, 20 years' time. And God forbid if we have another pandemic like this, but again, I'm sure we will. They're going to be the ones that are going to be doing the race to find the next cure and things. But all the next ones that are going to be collecting your bin or selling you in the supermarket. So we need to give them the best chance possible. And as agents, we've not had a bad run, I don't think, during lockdown.
Okay, well I'm going to share something with you. In fact, I'm going to try and bring it up now. So Stephen Brown, he messaged me yesterday, and just after you'd done your podcast in the morning. By the way, Luke does a podcast together with Stephen Brown and that other fellow. I forget his name. Andy Overman, that's it. So every podcast has one, which is, one presenter that is, a little bit unpredictable. On ours, we've got 2, me and Simon.
Yeah.
You got Andy. He's doing a tremendous job at the moment. But so Stephen sends me this link to his GoFundMe, and he says, thank you. He's asking me if we could get suppliers involved. Absolutely, not a problem at all. He says, what do you think of the idea? And I wrote him back a very cynical message where I said, the reality is it's a lovely industry always falling over itself to help society. Is it a genuine issue? Yes. Is it likely to be a storm in the teacup? My feeling was it was going to pass tremendously quickly. People will get used to this. And the cynical side of me said, let's pay the public to like and trust us. And that's effectively what we end up doing. And I went away after that and rethought it. And I listened to your podcast, and that kind of informed my thinking as well. There are times where I look at what we are now doing for our public and our communities, and there's a part of me that when you do it, you feel amazing. If you run a group, any kind of group, locally, where it's not focused on selling your services or selling anything, actually, all it's there to do is to help members of the public and to really sort of signpost them to local services, support businesses, support schools, support charities, whatever it is that we've all been privileged enough to be able to help with. It's tremendous. And I see that from our industry. I see that from guys like you, from Oliver, from countless others out there. But the undercurrent of that is that we're the only industry that I see doing it in such a public way. So you're not hearing of accountants clubbing together to buy school kids tablets. You're not hearing of accountants saying, oh, if you need your schoolwork printing, pop down and do it. And yet the reason we have to do it in some ways is not only that we're good people and we want to help people, and we should rightfully so be at the heart of our communities, but the other reason is that we're not particularly well loved, and we're constantly on this battle to try and, I'd say, curry favour with members of the public, and that kills me sometimes. It's a hard slog, and you never give up trying to sort of say, look, we're good people, we're doing good, and we're going out of our way. And sometimes, it just feels forced, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, I think you've got to have. It's what intent. Are you doing it with the intention that you want to get some business, or are you doing it with the intention that you want to help? So, and whenever we do something like this, I normally jump in with both feet to start with and think it's all about it, and it is all about helping people. And some of the comments that we've had back are quite a testament to that, saying whenever there's a community issue, you're always there to be involved. And we are, whether or not it's a school. And before Christmas, we dressed up as Santa. We went around the school, socially distanced and everything else. When they have so they used to reward the children, so they used to hire in a bouncy castle for an afternoon. We would put up the money. We'd put up the money for that. We didn't ask for it to be plastered with Knighstbridge all on the side, or they had to take a Knighstbridge pin badge home to show their mum and say, "Mum and Dad, if you've got to now have a free valuation or something like that." We did the food bank just before Christmas. They didn't need donations of food; they were inundated. But he said it costs us £80,000 to just run it in hard cash each year. That would be much. We didn't do a massive press release. We didn't do it's just very much silent and under the radar to help support these, because that's the community. That's the communities that we're in. And if those communities don't thrive, our businesses don't thrive as well.
And do you think the public perception of agents is changing? I mean, obviously it's changed locally to you due to guys like you. But do you think as a whole we're all doing collectively enough now to sort of really prove to members of the public that agents are, not just for Christmas, we're here for life and all life events, but we're also here to support them, and they in turn should support us, and we're not all wheeler dealing.
We're not all sharks, but 100, yeah, absolutely. But the public have had years and years and years of mistrust, haven't they? So you're not going to undo all of that mistrust just by donating 50 quid to your local school to buy some pens and pencils. It's got to be consistent and over the years, and then you started to make headroom. So don't expect it to happen and change within one event.
Well, I've got to say, you're doing a tremendous job, and even if agents can do one thing, and that's just to copy what you're doing, it will change. It will change.
They could do the printing. The printing thing's not really going to cost them, is it?
It's not, and I have to say, we straight after your podcast, directly sort of, I saw Oliver had done it, and I saw Andy Davies had done it as well. And initially, I was a little bit skeptical. I didn't know whether or not the public would really appreciate it. And we went live with that yesterday morning, and within an hour or so, the public sentiment was just unbelievably warm in terms of, this is a great idea. This is something that, you're supporting a community, and people do directly appreciate it. And so we managed to reach, I think, over 10,000 people in 8 hours. The post had been shared by other parents 126 times. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, and it's so. Every agency's got a printer sitting there, probably doing bugger all at the minute, because they're limiting their printing. They're not printing as much. Again, it's another way to keep our printers from local businesses who charge us per copy. So again, it's helping another local business at the same time. Stay in business. So it all kind of comes about.
It's brilliant. It really is. Luke, I need to talk to you about technology, if you don't mind. This is the real reason I've got you here. Yeah.
So it took us 37 minutes to get to that point.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd get through some light preamble before we get into the nitty-gritty. But basically, C on my list is for CRM. Yeah. And I look at CRM as really being the engine of that drives every other process in the office. So it's really, Simon calls it the source of truth. You can always get back to it. You can find out where everybody's meant to be if you manage your diary through it. Yeah. You can find out exactly what your negotiators have been doing. If you need it to manage KPIs and so on, it's all there. But whilst I was writing this particular chapter, I was trying to remember how CRM looked 10 years ago, and then how it looked 20 years ago. And when I first entered this industry, this is probably going on for about 25 years ago now, we had like a little Rolodex system, like index cards.
Index card in a black hot box.
And it could be stolen by anybody, just off a desk. So we all had our own little hieroglyphics we used to use to make them completely unintelligible to anybody else. But it was a manager's nightmare, because what it meant was that data was sat physically on somebody's desk. It was written the way that they wanted, and you had no oversight. So you had no idea how many applicants they had, how many people they'd spoken to. Fast forward to sort of 2021, we're in a very different place. But you famously have always tinkered with tech in terms of bullying it to do the things that you need it to do. Yeah. So tell me about your CRM journey.
Well, because when I first started with Knighstbridge, which was in 2001, I think it was, so we had viewing books. So all the viewings went in books, but each negotiator had their own viewing book. So you can imagine, you speak to a vendor, when are Merva viewings that day? And the viewing books were just in order that the viewings were booked. So it could have been like 4 days ago, the viewing was, but you've got to keep scrolling back. It was an absolute nightmare. And that was the first problem we tried to solve, is how can we easily see all the viewings that are booked in for a particular property to make it so that feedback was dead easy to give to the vendors. So we started off with a Lotus approach database. We had someone build it for £500 at the time.
It was a fortune at the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you think, bloody hell. And when you look back, and we kept that similar kind of Lotus approach database and style for the best part of, we retired it last year. It wasn't Lotus approach by then. It was Microsoft Access on a SQL backend, but we retired it on the 6th of April 2020, start of the new tax year, ironically. So We've had our use out of it, and we've gone on to Salesforce now, because I look at all the industry, and I think the closest one I've come to find so far that looks anything decent is Street. Out of them all, I think, and I love the guys at Street. I think Heather's great, because she's willing to listen to agents, and listen to what
they really sort of get our industry, don't they?
Yeah, well, because they've got that background, haven't they? If you take the time to understand what Spectre and Street are about and their backgrounds, that they've walked the shoes that we're walking in. So we've gone on to Salesforce. We've tinkered with Salesforce for a long time, but we wanted something where, because I'll watch something, I'll maybe watch something with Tom Panos, or Stephen will come up with a harebrained idea, where it's really good. And you think, how can we get that so that it's not labour intensive? And by having your own CRM, you can suddenly do that. And the key one was year before with Josh Phegan, about sending out vendor reports. So written vendor reports weekly, detailing what's going on with their property. And we had that rolled out within a couple of weeks. So where we give them an overview of how many website hits they've had, how many detailed views they've had, how many inquiries they've had, how many viewings they've had, how many second viewings they've had, how many offers, etc., etc. And it just gives them some key stats. And since we introduced that, it's helped improve communication to vendors, because they know to expect a written report each week. But also it's helped them identify when they need to reduce the price before the agent starts having conversation, because they see, it's been on the market for 428 days, we ought to look at dropping it now. So just by having that versatility to be able to do those things that are going to make a difference and improve your business.
But in order to have that versatility, you had to build it, though. You had to sort of, so talk to us, how does that work? Do you have
so this was in 2006. So we managed to run with Lotus Approach for about 5 years. So 2006, I found a guy on the internet.
And we'll end the conversation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, we're not talking about CRMs anymore.
No, I've got the soundbite I was looking for.
So he came in and did a week's training on how to use and how to program Microsoft Access. And after that, it was like, when you hit a problem, Google it. When you hit a problem, Google it. And if you don't know how to do it, then maybe outsource it, find someone that's reasonable to build it. And that's what we did. And when things like Zapier came out that allow you to connect different bits of tech really easily to have those benefits. So even just down to simple things like we did with the community when we did our Santa's Grotto. So any visitor to the grotto on Christmas Eve got a text message from Santa telling them that they still need to be good and to make sure they leave the mince pie out, and those kind of things. And when it's blustery outside and we send all the vendors a message, just say, hope you're okay, and also, is the board still standing?
Yeah. So that's something that you trigger en masse.
Yeah.
And what sort of reaction do you get to a message like that typically?
Really good. So they say, thanks for your concern. Yes, we're all good. So like when we have had some really bad weather, really good, thank you. Yeah, the board's still standing. No, it's in next door's garden. That kind of thing. And it kind of works. And like we did it yesterday with the fundraising for the schools. So to our vendors, just letting them know we're here for the printing for the kids, but also we are raising money for the schools. Send a quick message, and that takes us a couple of minutes to send out en masse to a targeted list that we want. And now it's Salesforce, anywhere in the world, on your mobile phone, on a tablet, and it's reliable.
But you're an industry anomaly, really, aren't you? In general, in terms of your use of tech as well. A lot of us would take whatever's there, whatever's available. We've tried all of them in the past, but you haven't settled for just your bog standard. I mean, you could have gone for something like Repeat years ago.
Yeah.
You decided not to. You decided instead to sort of go your own way with Salesforce, which may be the backbone actually of systems like Reaper anyway, and they're all very similar, and they use a common sort of core technology. But you've gone out of your way to sort of make it fit in a bespoke manner for you guys.
Yeah.
That takes a tremendous, and the reason why most of us don't do it is probably because of time cost more than anything else. But you've invested that time. Not everyone's like you. Are you an anomaly within your business? Do your partners look at you and go, "Oh God, Luke's building another nuclear bomb in the shed over there. Let's leave it to it"?
Yeah.
How does that work? Are you all similarly kind of focused?
No, so we are all different. So we've got one remaining, one other business. Remaining is the wrong word. So and one more business partner in the business. So and he's the opposite.
Do you want me to edit that bit out in case he thinks he's next?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll send him a message saying you are next. But no, he's completely bang the opposite. Give him a quill and a piece of paper, and he'd bring hot boxes back tomorrow in a grudge. Yeah. So, but again, it's you've got to make sure that there's a benefit there, because there are some wacky things that I've put out there that don't work, and that's why you've got to watch the film Field of Dreams, because you just got to keep pursuing. I'm
going to talk to you about Field of Dreams now. What did I do last night before I went to bed in preparation for talking to you today? I saw your Facebook post. So for anybody that doesn't know, Luke's wife had never seen Field of Dreams, and he was shocked by this. And I asked my wife if she'd seen Field of Dreams, and she sort of vaguely remembers Kevin Costner pissing about in a field. Something to do with baseball, and I decided to re-watch the film. Yeah, and I'm wondering, what is your key takeaway from that film? What is the message for you? Because
focus on your goals, and just keep going and going and going, because you know what's right in your head, and that's what Kevin Costner did. And if you build it, they will come, and you've got to go the distance.
So you built a CRM system effectively, and now the customers are turning up.
Yeah, precisely. So, but no, it's a good film. It's a childhood film that I used to watch. So I thought I've not watched it for a while.
Do you not think that watching it back as an adult now that works in the property industry, you've got this whole narrative there that he's going to lose the farm, that the bank are repossessing this asset of theirs the whole time because he's decided to build what our equivalent of a cricket pitch at the back of his house.
Yeah.
And it's insane. This guy's driving from city to city, sort of collecting old ghosts. To try and make everything go away, and the ending of the film tremendously unsatisfactory for me watching it back last night. Yeah, because
you see
the headlights of all these cars coming, so you know that he's kind of built the baseball equivalent of Disneyland. So that's their get out of jail card. Yeah, is the fact that they've got all these visitors that are going to pay them to come and see what he's built in his garden. Yeah. But it's I don't know, not maybe, if you want to see a better film with Ray Liotta in it, I think Goodfellas is something I'd probably recommend you should look at.
I've never seen it.
There's a lot of parallels in Goodfellas as well to our industry. Yeah, you see what Joe Pesci's capable of. He reminds me of Sean Adams at his best. Yeah. No, but it's one of those films where, you do. Who else is awake at this time of the morning?
That'll be Stacey.
Oh, well, I apologise to her that I'm keeping you awake.
Okay. But no, CRM, so providing it helps. So simple things like doing your AML check. So can you, at a click of a button, And we had this when AML first came out for agents with the new regulations. So we did it at the same time. We'd never done a manual AML process. So doing the online check at the press of a button, because I saw that it was going to be a mammoth task to actually oversee and make sure you're doing that properly. So rather than you get an instruction, brilliant, now we've got to key it in on some website, or we've got to get ID or something like that. It's just being able to do that, because yes, it may cost an extra 50p a check, but the time that you're going to save and making sure it's all done correctly in terms of compliance. And then you talked about your KPIs. So what's your business doing? So it's that instrument control. It's like that pilot's view, that instrument control. So the pilot can see at any point on his dashboard what's happening with the plane, and he knows, is the plane in a healthy state, or have they got a shout out Mayday? And it's the same for your own business, and to kind of see those trends, and then also give them back to the colleagues that you've got in the business. So let them know. So we've now got, and I copied this from Shaun Adams, so we've got the world records behind us. So we've got our own, each office we have world records, and I copied that from Shaun. A visit to his office, I saw it in his kitchen, and it's like, these are the world records of vows, sales agreed, and it gives. And last year, I think all the offices broke their records for the various metrics that we kind of measured and managed, and it's great. And it's like, let's beat one this year, let's beat one next year, and let's see how we're going on. But you do need that instrument control.
So you have your sort of KPIs, and you have those targets in real time flashing up on screens in the office.
Yeah.
Don't you? So you can literally go in and take the temperature like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, down to phone calls, down to what's the most popular property on Rightmove yesterday. What's been the most popular, and all of that's fed into dashboard screens using something called Gecko board. So we've got 65-inch TV screens in each office that are supplying that kind of live data. But again, that's you walk around. I don't know. I went to Move With Us, for example, and when you go to Move With Us, it's an impressive setup that they've got. Whether or not you agree with how they run the business, I don't, and what they do to agents, I think they're missing a massive trick. But that's another story for another day. But then they have got their KPI. Like, how many phone calls have they answered today? How many deals have they done? Just so that everyone knows, and the visibility of that. So again, that was 3-4 years ago. So that was probably a bespoke thing to them. But now there's custom generic things out there that you can bolt into with your CRM or Google Sheets or Excel spreadsheets or even Salesforce.
So do you see it big? So we talked about the fact that you've sort of not bought an off-the-shelf solution for as bespoke for agency CRM, if you like, and you've always dabbled and sort of manipulated technology and combined several elements sometimes to sort of give you an overall machine that you think works for your setup. But do you think that companies like Street that we mentioned, do you think that there is a sort of a new dawn at the moment going on within the supplier world? Do you see more products that are actually... See, what was interesting in my discussion with Nicol was his product, for instance, came about completely by accident. He needed a solution to a problem that didn't exist previously. It was there, he built it, he then sort of started to roll it out to other agents, but it wasn't one of those solutions that just wins you another instruction.
No.
It actually helps you do your job and add value, which is something that never used to happen in the supplier world. So do you see that shift? Do you feel it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that because, I mean, you got the likes of Home Search, so what Home Search are potentially going to be offering, and then, like you say, with Street, you've got people like Acaboom, and I know Acaboom have been around for a long, long time, but I mean, we went with Acaboom this year, and last year, and it was probably apart from Buddy or what we call or Salesforce, that was probably the best piece of integration or implementation that we did, because that's going to be so valuable to us as a business in 2, 3, 4 years' time, when we can see a vendor that had a market appraisal in 2020 and is then suddenly starting to look at their market appraisal document again in 2022.
Fantastic. I mean, and then Acaboom in the pocket,
yeah,
sort of thing that they've rolled out is also awesome.
Yeah.
Know exactly when to jump on.
Yeah, and it works. It works to then make those follow-ups, because how you'd love to know when someone's looking at, you send out your printed market appraisal follow-up letter where it's telling you how great you are and how many awards you've won and you're the best in the area and that kind of thing. But you don't know when that person's looking at it. Whereas something like Acaboom, it's giving you that information. It's like anything. You go on to a website, you start looking at sofas. Next thing in your Facebook feed, what comes up? Loads of adverts for sofas.
It used to be Perry Power's face used to follow me around the internet. I made a mistake of clicking on one advert, and it didn't matter what I did. It was.
So he did have, but he was dressed smartly in his roll neck.
He had roll neck, no socks on. I just don't get that, but yeah. So that's Acaboom, and obviously you've probably been dealing with Suzanna Mavity over there, who is awesome in terms of customer support as well.
Yeah,
and I do feel that over the course of the last year and doing the podcast with Simon, I've come into contact with more suppliers, and I think that they do make an effort now to understand our industry. They get it. It is more than just the ability to sort of hold a trophy up, and because you've never been somebody that's necessarily been mad focused on awards or any of the glory side of things. You've just really been focused on trying to improve that customer experience. And I see more and more of those suppliers out there now who get that. They understand it's not necessarily about the shiny stuff, but which has a place, and that is important as well. But it's
I mean, it's what Peter Knight talks about it. I mean, I do a lot or watch a lot of Josh Phegan's work. I think he's exceptional, and he talks about the whole customer experience, or CX 4.0, whatever you want to call it. And if you're honest about it in your own business, yes, you can bury your head in the sand, but you know what the customers, and if not, then just ask the customers. Again, I think agents and suppliers could take a lot from actually, they know who maybe the key agents are that may be using their services, that they could maybe have a little bit of, at the minute, a Zoom panel. So 5, 6 agents, would you mind? Half an hour of your time, we just want to do a bit of a research discussion panel. And you could do the same with your own customers, maybe on a one-to-one basis. What you like, what you don't like, what frustrates you, what's the biggest hang-up that you've got. Just ask, and you may not want to know the answers, but that'll be so rewarding than making those mistakes.
So there is this shift within the industry. We're shifting to be, we're nicer, we're better people than we were before. We are certainly better agents. In terms of best practice, it is no longer. There used to be organisations such as the NAEA who used to have such a hold on the industry because we would take best practice from them. Today, it's argued that they could take a lot of notes from us and work out. And some agents out there are doing a fantastic job, and Proptech is something that's becoming more useful, because I thought it was, it was a solution looking for a problem at the point, but now we're there. We're actually solving real things. You came up with something which you've very gladly sort of shared with people for a donation to charity, which I think is awesome, and it's in its simplicity. But it does a job. So that's tell us a little bit about your tool that you came up with.
So again, we have a weekly Zoom call with our valuers. Stephen does bi-weekly training with them as well to hold them accountable. And it's, okay, well, look, we know that we put more money in the owner's back pockets. We've done our own research. We know that we're roughly putting on average 3 to, depending on the office, £3,000 to £6,000 extra on top of what our competitors would be. So we're doing the vendors an injustice if we're not demonstrating that, really, because they're losing money.
Yeah.
But then it was, how can the valuers articulate that and get that across? So, yeah, but I can't work out the calculations so quickly, or they couldn't see it, they couldn't understand it. So I thought, okay, I could do like a little grid, so they could go down, right, so the price is that, and go across that way. Or why don't we do it in an app for them? So we did an Apple iOS app where they can demonstrate, so this is the price that we're going on at, this is the price that we achieve. When we take that off, this is how much we're going to charge you. So we're charging you 2% or 1.5%, so that's 1.8 including VAT. This is what you're going to end up at. This is your Julian O'Dell back pocket figure. Agent B that comes in, that we know that they're only getting 95 or 96%, so they're actually getting you less. Yes, they may be charging you 0.5%, but again, as Tom Panos kind of talks about, that the cheapest agent is actually the most expensive agent, and in that scenario, we're actually making you an extra £8,000, and we can share that with the vendor. So we just did it as so it is a glorified spreadsheet in an app, but it looks nice. And when I was making it, I thought, well, rather than us just benefit from it, why don't we do it so that they can change the colours, change the logo, then other agents can use it, and that's what we did.
It's brilliant, and your generosity of spirit is breathtaking. Can we go back to the real reason we're talking today, which is Field of Dreams, before I let you go?
Yes.
Do you not feel that when you looked at that film now, having watched it back with your agency spectacles on, yes, it's about pursuing an outrageous dream that has no basis in reality at all, but was there a part of you that looked at him mowing down his crop field to build a cricket pitch? Did you not think Kevin Ellis would be absolutely going off his nuts saying you could fit 4 semis in a row over there?
Yeah, he's probably already done a deal on it.
I think if they remake Field of Dreams, they should remake it with Kevin Ellis and make it a Landon New Homes sort of, rolling advert. I think that's the future.
He probably had an option on the land, I would imagine.
Do you do much with Landon New Homes?
Yeah, so we're members of the Landon New Homes network. We have been since early days when they first kind of established. So, I mean, Kevin's like the oracle when it comes to anything Landon New Homes. So we've got a Landon New Homes manager. So he came to us from Thomas Cook. So when Thomas Cook went wrong, he was one of their managers, and Chris has been superb since he joined us. So had no transferable skills is the wrong word, had no property experience whatsoever, but he had transferable skills in terms of speaking to people who he knew, and his connections, and just his work ethic. If he doesn't know how to do something, he'll find out how to do it. He'll ask the right questions, and you can trust him explicitly to get on with it.
So that it's been a profitable side of your business, but it's something that you need to invest in, isn't it?
Yeah,
a lot of people dabble with it, but they don't actually.
You can't just pop a sign up on your website and say, "Hey, we do Landon New Homes," and then all of a sudden, you house builders are going to come. Oh, come and sell my new build development. You've got to go out and gather that business.
And as a network, I think they're tremendously supportive, aren't they, in terms of the support that Kevin and his team will give your team and their insight. It's really gathered pace very quickly, that business.
Absolutely. I mean, they've got some good agents, they've got some good members, and there's some great figures that are being written, some great business, and the opportunities are out there. But like you said, you can't just sit there and just join the network and expect it all to come to you. You have got to actually work for it.
So what's next for Luke and Clair?
So what's next? So this year is, well, we're moving house. We've got a new baby on the way. as well. So that's April. So we decided to move house, and as most vendors, we put it on the market at Christmas and still expect to move by stamp duty deadline.
And are you going to get it through?
Hopefully by mid-Feb.
Well,
so all being well, and then it's the continuation of developing Buddy. So there's some things in it that don't work well. So like the matching doesn't work well.
So Buddy, is that the nickname that you give to your CRM?
Yes.
Okay. It's not.
Yeah. So we asked colleagues, what can we give it a name? So Asad from Location, he calls his Hubble.
Right, okay.
So that's what he called it. So we copied Asad with it. And so we asked everyone, and someone came up with Buddy. And so it was named after Buddy the Elf.
Another favourite film of yours, also based in reality.
Of course, yeah. Obviously, it's all about belief. There's a common
belief and dream. I can see a common theme here. Developing Buddy, and in terms of being in love with your industry, it's still there. Does it grow every day, or are there times where you think, "Oh God, I can't stand this anymore"? I won't tell anyone if the answer.
No. If you'd asked me the question at the end of last year, the answer would have been not falling out of love with it, but not enjoying it. And I'd never let that show to colleagues or to clients. But you're in a temperature of it. So if you tested me that way, but I think a lot of that was just a tough year, and it was long days, long hours.
Do you think lockdown kind of helped with that? Did it help you to sort of press pause and look at things in a different way this year than it would have been last year?
Yes, it did. It helped kind of press the pause button, but did it slow down or reduce the amount of work? If anything, it probably increased it, because you don't know what's around the corner, so you kind of working your socks off to keep the hamster wheel going, and a lot of it's just tiredness. So I kind of took the decision towards the end of last year not to completely stop, but just to maybe do 3-4 hours a day every day, and then do something for me, or something in the business that wasn't as taxing and challenging. Maybe. So we did the Santa videos, for example.
Yeah.
We did the Zoom calls for them. We did some community bits and bits and pieces, buying the colleagues their Christmas hampers, just something like that to just change it. So, but then come back refreshed for this year. And this year it's like, let's get going. And all of a sudden you're buying tablets for school children and raising money.
Well, you're doing a tremendous job, and honestly, I need to sort of thank you on behalf of the industry for running the industry's second favourite podcast for a start, but also for everything that you do in terms of sharing ideas. It was tremendously refreshing to be able to walk into a room, as I did sort of 4 or 5 years ago, meet people like you, and then understand that it was okay to share, because we were brought up in an environment within our industry where traditionally between fierce competitors you would never let your campaigns or your ideas or whatever it is out the bag at all. And when I walked into those rooms and I was actually encouraged by Stephen and people like yourselves to share not only what was going on inside here, but also to share with them what it is that I do, what it is that I think adds value for my customers. And by sharing, we've created something. I mean, I think I was talking to Michael about this, but the standard of, I mean, if you look at Michael today and you look at it 4 or 5 years ago, completely different business. It's completely changed. It can be transformational, can't it?
Absolutely. It is kind of like that miracle dream that kind of Tom Panos talks about, where if you had the miracle dream, what would it look like tomorrow? And yeah, I mean, Michael, I listened to that podcast and I thought, when you actually look back, it's amazing how far and how beneficial it has been to his business, but also to your business, to Oliver's business, to Stephen's business as well. With what, and again, we've got a lot to thank for in Stephen for bringing a group of agents together and to have that foresight to encourage the sharing.
We talked about heroes, and we talked about sort of cheerleaders and people that are constantly involved in an ongoing effort to really big up our industry and sort of make it and clean it up, but also keep morale nice and high. And I think that's something that's come in 2020, whatever shit it gave us, it gave us, I think, an overwhelming generosity of spirit, and I think we all clubbed together and we're all pulling in the right direction, and it looks like 2021 has started the right way with that. So
absolutely,
from me to you, oh God, that sounded very Alan Partridge there, didn't it? But I just want to say massive thank you, because I think I know any agent can call you and sort of say, Luke, what do you recommend on this? And you've always taken the time to speak to people, and you've always done it in a way where it's never been any trouble. And I know sometimes that takes effort, and to me, it's truly appreciated. So
pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's just about helping everyone, isn't it?
it is, and it's also about Kevin Costner and baseball.
Of course, yeah. So if you don't do anything else today, just watch
Field of Dreams and then give Kevin Ellis a call afterwards. Luke, thank you very much. I'm going to let you have a
pleasure, sir.
Day. You will make it to the book, and I'm sure I'm going to be speaking to you about other bits and pieces along the way. But thank you very much.
No, pleasure, sir. Thank you very much.
Have an awesome week. Take care, fella.